Tim Weigel on sports and the Eyewitness News team. This is Eyewitness News.
Good evening. The tranquility of a tiny Indiana town has been shattered tonight. A crazed gunman wearing Army fatigues and armed with a sophisticated rifle opened fire on the town's main street, then moved in with his gun blazing into a Kmart and an auto parts store. He claimed the lives of 3 innocent people before he was gunned down himself. It happened in St. John, a town of 5,000 just south of Hammond. Chuck Gowdy is standing by at the scene of the tragedy with the first of 2 live reports. Chuck?
John, we have just learned that it was a new local resident who turned this town into a shooting gallery. He is now identified as 32-year-old Jim Koslow. He lived near here in St. John. Koslow killed by police after gunning down 3 people himself, including an employee and a shopper here.
He was just standing on 41, pumping at the guy in the motorcycle. He had his scope on or something, he was just shooting.
The man on the motorcycle was killed, the first victim of this 35-minute barrage of bullets, begun about 5:30 this evening here in front of the Coachman Inn. Fired from this semi-automatic rifle, an H&K 93, with 120 rounds of ammunition available. This woman, one of several, shot and wounded on the street before the gunman ran into Kmart. All the while, the trigger pulled, peppering cars, people, and buildings. Anything that got in the way.
I was on the main midway, that's right in the aisle of the store, and then I hear some shots, and I don't know, somebody started screaming, "Get down, get down."
Then the gunman ran back across the street, where he continued firing.
The guy just started unloading shots towards 41, towards the Kmart. Brought the gun down, looked around a few more times, walked towards 41, picked it up and started shooting towards 41 and towards Kmart.
The gunman was shot and killed behind an auto parts store after being cornered here by a St. John police officer.
I looked around the corner and there he was with a gun pointed at me, so I started shooting at him. He turned around, looked like he was going to shoot at me, but then ran the other way, and I just shot at him until he went down.
George Murr caught the first bullet while riding on his motorcycle outside the Coachman Inn Tavern. Murr was a father of 3, and his wife is pregnant.
He started unloading into the Kmart. He walked inside, came back out. He must have laid around 20 shots in there. Looked around towards us, shot a few times over here because there were cars coming by. Went back in and laid in about 20 more shots. Came outside again, and then that's when he heard the sirens. He started to at the slow jog coming this way, and there was a few cars going, and that car right there was coming by, and he shot right into it. He was around 20 yards away from it. The lady in there ducked, and she was panicking.
A 50-year-old Kmart employee working at the courtesy counter was the next fatality. A Kmart shopper was the next one gunned down. A woman, 35 years old, from Lowell, Indiana. More than 100 rounds of ammunition fired. 3 innocent victims, 3 senseless deaths. The last to die was the gunman, now identified as 32-year-old James Koslow, living in this St. John home with his parents since moving from Chicago in January. Koslow was killed by a police bullet to the head. Investigators last night removed bags of evidence from the man's bedroom. This photograph shows what they found: several combat rifles and an array of ammunition. They also found these books on combat techniques and how to kill. But detectives say it was a medical problem that set off the former Mount Carmel High School student.
His parents, you could tell me that day, their son was suffering excruciating pain from a back injury that he supposedly got at work, that he hadn't worked in the last 2 months because of this injury, and that his son was getting bills, and she was going to let me know who the bills were from later on today, that he was saying they weren't helping me, and he was burning the bills because he said he had all this pain. Said that the mother said he had gotten an injection of some kind of drug from some doctor somewhere that put him in convulsions. The son called home and said, "They're trying to kill me. I'm dying, and now they're trying to kill me."
Police investigators say they also found several empty prescription bottles, doctor-prescribed depressants, as well as evidence that he was using PCP. There was also evidence from his family and from friends that he was a heavy drinker and may have been drinking at the time the rampage started. Here, 24 hours ago, almost to the minute, in that parking lot over there. It started with a burst of semi-automatic rifle fire. Bystanders cut down by the crazed weapons fanatic. When the gun smoke...
Here. So I go back, I told the police is behind. So the policemen stopped in the corner of that building over here. They tried to run away over here and shot him right behind that truck.
While the cleanup continues here, I have just received more information about the gunman. Local investigators say that Koslow just moved here 2 weeks ago from Chicago, and that he apparently became upset over some kind of doctor's treatment for a leg problem that he had. In fact, an eyewitness inside the Kmart mentioned tonight that he named a hospital as being the reason for what he was doing. There are still several of his gunshot victims being treated at area hospitals. And Channel 7's Tim Ryan has been covering that part of the story. He is standing by live now at Our Lady of Mercy Hospital in